Good evening, everybody. How's it going? Welcome. It's Sunday. It's me, Comic Crack, and I'm here to kind of go over the stuff that I read this week, which hasn't been a lot. I got a couple of books that I picked up from Dan at Mad Cat Comics here in town. So huge shout out to Mad Cat Comics and Dan. He often puts on claim sales or things like that on the Facebook group. One of the Winnipeg comic Facebook groups. There's a couple of them. And he had some amazing stuff, some stuff that I lost out on. He had a claim sale, which is basically he posts something. The first person who says yes or claim or I'll take it is the first person. So if you're not kind of on your phone, kind of following the postings, you do miss out on some stuff. There was a few things that I missed out on that for the first time in a little while were really like a damn it, because he also has incredible prices on stuff. So I got some stuff for, I think, $14, and the stuff that I got, no, $15, because I picked up a book from him today that I'd forgotten that was $1. The stuff that I did grab from him is incredible. I've started reading some of it, and I'm very excited about a couple of the things that I'll show you. To start it off, though, no chat this afternoon with Rasa. I was working this afternoon, so I didn't have a chance. Hello, 420. Yeah, I think he's been. I saw him today, 420, and I think I'm hoping that he has more stuff coming, like sales online. So keep your eyes out on the group. But the thing is, I'm not often on Facebook, so I end up missing a lot of stuff too, because I just don't check in there very often. It's not my go-to social media by a long shot. So I do miss some stuff. Yeah. So no chat because I had to work and it just didn't line up for us. So hopefully we're back next weekend, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm hoping that I'll have some time next weekend. One of the things I did want to talk about at first, though, is for those of you who do follow news and stuff, did you ever think that you would live to see a day where someone like Alex Jones and someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would actually agree on something? And not only that, both come out and call what's happening in Israel-Palestine, in Gaza specifically, a genocide. Boggles my fucking mind. I heard about it tonight, actually, watching one of my shows that I watch, this Due Dissidents, which is a fantastic stream that I do try to catch whenever I can. Unbelievable. And one of the things that I was thinking about, I was talking to my wife about it tonight. My reading has really dramatically gone down because I'm just listening to things that are going on, and I'm, just kind of processing things for myself as well too. So my reading, I think I'm only up to like 50 this year so far for my reading goal, where last year at this time, I'm sure that I was probably at around 100. And one of the things that's kind of taking up my time is I really feel like, as much as a person as I've always have been is still consistent, I do feel like the pandemic kind of reawakened something in me that was there when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, we were very political. We were kind of like the punk rocker kind of, I don't know, geeks or outcasts or whatever you want to call us. We were a very small group of outcasts to some degree, who liked heavy metal, like, punk rock, liked all this kind of stuff, but also had a lot of political discussions, me and my friends. It was a huge part of our lives. I don't necessarily have that as much these days. A lot of people that I know just aren't into politics, which is absolutely fine. It's not a criticism on people that aren't into it at all. And that's not how I want this to come off, because that's not the case. I totally understand wanting to kind of step away from some of that stuff, as far as like being able to process things, feeling like you can actually contribute, feeling like you can do something. It can be overwhelming. So I totally understand that. Myself, though, the pandemic really kind of reawakened something in me, this kind of mistrust of of anybody in authority. That's always something that I have had, even when I was in the union job. That was kind of, I think, what made me good in that job, having that kind of attitude and kind of questioning things. But I really feel like it's turned into high gear this past kind of year or so since I've been out of that job. I think partially that's due to I don't have that job to kind of focus some of that energy, dealing with contracts, dealing with collective agreements, dealing with grievances, dealing with meetings, dealing with producers and employers and things. I think because that side I don't have anymore, my attention has focused to other things where I feel like I'm flexing that muscle a little bit. But also, I think that it's important. I've always thought it was important to have an idea of what's going on in the world and making sure that your eyes are open to the way people are communicating with us, whether that's independent or mainstream media, whether that's your friends, whether that's your parents, whether that's your local government officials, whether that's the mayor of your town, whatever it happens to be. And it's something that I try to pass on and talk to the kids about. This idea that knowing this stuff and seeing those cracks and seeing the manipulations and seeing that stuff and being sometimes made aware of it, because you might not have noticed it, I think is crucial when it comes to just even day-to-day interactions with people, especially as my kids get older and are going to be dealing with eventually workforces and bosses and co-workers, and who knows what my daughter is going to get into as she gets older, right? So I think this ability to be able to read the room and see through propaganda and all of these things, I think is really crucial. So that's been on my mind a lot lately. And sometimes, honestly, I sometimes do wonder why I still do this. Don't worry, this is my last video kind of video. It's not that at all. It is just sometimes I do wonder why I still do this, because there's so many other things on my mind that sometimes it's not exactly a challenge. It's a welcome break. But I sometimes wonder why I kind of keep up with this channel and talking about these things. It feels a little ridiculous sometimes, to be totally blunt. Not often, but today I'm struck with it for sure. I kind of had this intention of doing the video, and then I'm literally sitting here getting ready to push start and kind of questioning the whole thing. So that said, though, I still do want to talk about some stuff, but those kind of things are on my mind. And I do know that people kind of use some of these videos. They don't necessarily want to engage in politics. I'm not the person that can always kind of keep that aside, especially when we're seeing the things that we're seeing in the world. I do feel like it's important to talk about. I have a weekly radio show with the family. The first chunk of the radio show, 95% of the time, it's a little politics piece for about the first 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes that's, 10 minutes probably, depending on how long the clip is. I usually pick a clip that I've been into in the week, play a piece of music, and then talk about the clip and put it into context and things. It's one of those, when you have some sort of platform, no matter what it is, it seems a shame to not speak on those topics. I try really hard not to push my own political beliefs. I am aware that I'm a human being, and those probably come across pretty fucking blatantly. Sometimes due to me saying it specifically, but I do feel like it's natural to have your own bias. And I do feel like it's important that we do talk about things, even if it is just the beginning of a video. So maybe something that you see within the videos going forward, I may kind of do a little piece at the beginning about something that's been interesting during the week. I'm not saying it's going to be full politics streams or anything, not at all. I do feel it's important that we all talk about stuff, though. And if you don't want to hear it, I absolutely understand. There's nothing keeping you here. You don't have to watch the videos. You can come to watch the videos and skip to the 10-minute mark, and I would totally understand. I would hope, though, that we could have a little bit of a dialogue. There was a post on a previous video when I talked about what's happening in Gaza. I kept that post. I didn't respond to it. I kept it up. I didn't delete it. I don't remember the video, but it was something along the lines of that it was from someone that says they've been watching my videos for quite a long time, and they were disappointed in kind of the simplistic way that I put what's going on over there. And I don't feel that that is necessary to have a comment to it, other than what's going on currently is pretty simple. Yes, of course, there's a history to it, and absolutely that history is important. And that history is also what's brought us to the place that we are right now. By not going into detail and doing like a 2.5 hour stream where we talk about every single instant in history, doesn't mean that I think it's a simplistic thing that's going on over there. I do realize the complexities. The simple thing that's happening right now, though, is that tens of thousands of people are being killed, and that is being funded by our government here in Canada, although that may be coming to an end, the government in the United States and the UK. And I think that that's a travesty, especially as a Canadian citizen. I don't want anything to do with that. I honestly don't want anything to do with wars in any country as a Canadian. I'd rather that money go to Canada. I'd rather that money stay with us. I'd rather that money is being used to kind of help people here within Canada to build a better place, than going out and supporting governments that are going to just slaughter women and children. And even if they are military people, it's still human beings. I think it's fucking disgusting. And anybody that would support it is not a friend of mine. I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, so that's it on that point. Let's get into some of this, some of this shit. So reading Blueberry. I'm going to wait. I'm not finished this volume yet. I'm going to wait and finish it, so then Rasa and I can talk about it in detail. I'll just kind of say some of the same things that she said in our stream last weekend in our chat, that it's so great to kind of revisit this material. I think that this stuff is just amazing. It's just such a complete world. The characters are so complete. It's just so enjoyable to kind of sit and dig into this book and dig into the characters in their world. And I could read, there's some stuff that you have, that all of us have in our collections, I think, that we could easily go back to time and time again and not get bored of, and Blueberry is one of them for sure. But like I said, I'll save the bigger talk about that for next weekend when Rasa and I have a chance to kind of do a chat. One of the things that I got in the Facebook group from Mad Cat and Dan, the entire 5-issue miniseries of Richard Corbin's Rat God. And this was the first thing that I sat down to read. For some reason, when this was coming out, I think I might have 1, possibly 2 issues of this in the collection. I think this is one of the issues that I do have. But for some reason, it just wasn't... I don't know if I didn't have it on my... Well, I'm assuming I didn't have it on a pull list. It just wasn't something that I was picking up routinely for whatever reason. And I think that I'm so glad that I finally got it and had a chance to read it. This is for sure one of the highlights in this era of Corbin, when he was doing stuff for Dark Horse, doing a lot of kind of horror and Lovecraftian, Cthulhu kind of Lovecraftian horror, I guess, specifically, which this has touches of in this series. One of the indigenous tribes, I can't remember their name right now, but it's a made up tribe, and it's a very kind of Lovecraftian type of name for them. And even when our main character kind of curses, it's sent by Yog Sothoth with his penultimate curse, darkness. So even reference to kind of Lovecraftian creatures. And I wish I could... Yeah, there's the name. So the Cthanhluk. So Cthanhluk Indians, the native Cthanhluk Indians, must have shared their secrets with old Zedon Peck. So I had to look it up. At that point, this is issue 2 that it kind of jumped out at me, that name. And I had to look online to see if... I mean, it didn't seem like it was real, but I just wanted to kind of confirm, like, it seems too made up, but also it seems sort of real. So, and then I found actually an interesting site where they go through a lot of Richard Corbin works and talk about the stories themselves. So I really, really enjoyed this one. There's kind of this kind of time jumping, time travel-ish that kind of happens here. There's people that kind of transform into other people. We have a very unlikable main character. We're set up at the beginning of the first issue following this brother and sister that are fleeing some people, and you get the sense that these are going to be the two main characters. That shifts pretty quickly, kind of halfway through the issue, where we meet our who is to be a main character, and he's pretty much a piece of shit right out of the gate. He's clearly a racist kind of scumbag, even though very specifically his skin tone is colored exactly the same as the people that he's kind of ignorant about and racist towards. This is written and drawn by Corbin, colored by himself and his wife. The coloring is the one thing that I had a bit of an issue with, especially in this first issue. There was some real dark spots that just didn't jump out at you, and it sometimes with Corbin stuff, it enters a darkness that is, it's no longer moody, it's just not visible, and I found that kind of got in the way a little bit. I was kind of reminded how gorgeous his coloring can be, though, in, I think it was issue number 3. Let's just double check. Yes, it'll be issue number 3, so let me show you some of that here. Beautiful, beautiful stuff in this one, and it's kind of, again, so it's nice to be reminded instantly of how good his stuff can be. This page is gorgeous with this kind of airbrushed kind of softness. They feel real fleshy. They feel, the characters feel really Corbin-esque, you know, squishy and three-dimensional. Later on, we get a page like this where we get these kind of textures on this skeleton that, again, are incredibly realistic, but still very much Corbin. And I think that's one of the things that I love the most about Corbin, is he really has this ability, or had this ability rather, to bridge the ultra realistic with clearly comic book artistry of this cartooning. Our main character has kind of stumbled on this town and this tribe of indigenous peoples and their rituals of sacrifice to this rat god. He kind of goes to save this woman that he knew from the city, and she's next to be sacrificed. So of course he's in hiding. He can't stop himself anymore, and he goes to rush to save her. In the brawl, he gets thrown down into the pit. So we get this section here again with more outstanding Corbin art, as we see kind of a sketch off in the distance of this rat god. I love these pages that are sort of this in-between world where he's talking with spirits. And this is the one that I used for the stream tonight, because again, that kind of liquid texture growing on this skeleton, I think, are just amazing looking. Like, they're really it looks like I can touch the page and it's going to be kind of, you know, my daughter plays with slime and stuff. It seems to be the rage with kids. It feels like it's going to have that texture. That texture is very visceral within those panels there. So I really enjoyed this. I read it all in one go, sat at the dining room table and just kind of went from issue to issue. It was a great way to read this story. I think it would have been great month to month as well too, but some of these, it's fantastic to be able to sit back and just digest the whole thing. So the rest of the story is kind of this arc of our main character and what eventually happens to him. I just found it rewarding. I just found it really great to see kind of growth in characters in comics. And like I said, you can't go wrong with some Richard Corbin. So if you don't know this one, I'm sure that it's been collected into a hardcover or something, or if you're lucky enough to find the single issues, I wouldn't hesitate to pick them up. Daryl D, if you were watching this in the future, curious if you've picked this up and if you've read it and what you thought of it. As the other resident Corbin aficionado in the group. What year was that from? I didn't put it in the book yet. 2015 is when this came out. Yeah, so not super long ago. I guess I'll go into the rest of the stuff that I bought, and then we'll end off on one of the things that I picked up that I started reading. So today, one of the books that I'd forgotten about, and so did Dan, that I went to pick up from him. I can't believe that it was $1. I can't believe that I got there just in time to snatch it up. Was a graphic novel, Bad Blood. Jonathan Mayberry and Tyler Crook. I don't know this title. It's Dark Horse again. I'm not aware of it. I don't remember it coming out. I don't think, me being a fan of Tyler Crook is a relatively newer development. This is 2014, so I'm really curious about this book. I've really grown to love Tyler Crook's stuff, so I'm very much looking forward to digging into this. Nothing to be surprised here at as far as his art goes. It's kind of classically him. I don't know if there's people that are out there that are fans of Harrow County, but Harrow County has a board game now. If you go to Tyler Crook's channel, I think he's got a video where he kind of unboxes. One of, I would say, the big unfortunate thing about that is they put out a couple of different versions of the game. So it's the variant cover of the board game industry, where one of them is a little cheaper and it has some kind of components that are kind of standard cardboard components. Then you can get another edition of it where it comes with a bag for the chits and things. And it comes with, I think it comes with, does it come with actual characters, like actual 3D modeled figures? I think it might. And when I was looking at the prices, even for the base board game, it's pretty damn expensive. I would love to play it. It looks like a good enough game. It doesn't look like something that's it doesn't look like an incredible game though. It seemed fun to play. It might be one to try to go to a board game cafe in town. We have a couple, I think, in town where you can go and play board games. Wondering if they would get it in. Speaking of board games, Skinner did some art on a game as well too recently, and his art it looks pretty good. Again, I'm a little surprised at how little he was able to flex. That one has miniatures as well too. He's got such an amazing style, and it does come across within the game, but not to the degree that I would like as a fan of his artwork. I feel like it needs to be even more of what it already is. They've left that one open to expansions as well too, which again, the variant cover game of board games, making sure that you have room for expansions to keep selling people on it. But I can't remember what that one's called right now, but if you look it up online, I'm sure something will come up. So very much looking forward to reading Bad Blood by Tyler Crook. Another one that I got from Dan was this hardcover, The Dark Horse Book of Horror, a thick son of a bitch. I think this was $5 is what he had on it, which is an amazing price. Mike Mignola, Gary Gianni, Jill Thompson, Evan Dorkin, Sean Phillips, P. Craig Russell, Paul Chadwick, Kurt Busiek, and others. So it was based on that list of creators. I hadn't heard about this. Let's get the year for this one. This is 2017, so even more recent. So this one completely passed me by. But when I saw that list of creators that were contributing to this, it was kind of a no-brainer. So the chapters, I'm assuming the individual issues were broken up into various headings. So chapter 1 is kind of hauntings with a bunch of stories. Then is witchcraft. Oh, actually, it looks like way more than one single issue. Then is the dead, and then monsters. So maybe this was, someone will tell me, I'm sure, in the chat or in the comments afterwards, was this actually a single issue thing, or was this a series of graphic novels that they've collected into one hardcover book? Nice stuff in there. Some of the first Beasts of Burden collected. Oh, okay. Gotta love Gianni too. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this one too. This one I probably won't be able to dig into for a couple of weeks. The kind of pace that my reading is going these days, we'll see when I get to it. Because the next thing I'm going to talk about, I'm actually way more excited about than I thought I was going to be. So this looks fantastic, though. Lots of seeing some Mignola there. Speaking of which, wondering if everybody saw the IDW promo for Batman Year One with Mignola talking about it. I've contacted 420 will know I've contacted Ash at 204 Comics to see if it's come up for pre-order yet. I only have a couple. I only have two artist editions. This will be the third one. I do want to get my hands on it. I love Batman Year One. I think it would be great to see Mazzucchelli's art on that size. So that would be incredible. There were mini hardcover anthologies, 3 or 4, forget which. Okay. Thank you very much for that. I'm assuming that it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm assuming it was 4 because there's 4. This is broken up into 4 chapters there. So I'm assuming that it was originally 4 mini hardcovers. So this is great. Really, really great. And the one that I've wanted to read for a long time. I've wanted to read Terry Moore for a long time in a big way, but it's just always been the case of when I see this stuff, it's just the price isn't there for me. I got the first 3 volumes of Rachel Rising. I don't remember. Was this $5 as well? I don't remember how much it was. I think it was $5 for the first 3 volumes. I started reading volume 1. I think I'm about 3 issues into it. And honestly, right out of the gate, my mind was kind of blown at how fucking good it is and how much it's, oh, okay. Nicer at that size if you're printing. Okay, yeah. I knew that it would be something that I would be into. There wasn't a doubt in my mind. What surprised me, though, is how quickly it grabbed me and how quickly I was completely in love with the story and invested in the story. I am so goddamn curious about where this story is going to go. Those first 3 issues, the way the story unfolds is pretty goddamn phenomenal. I've always liked his art. I've always, I think, made assumptions about his stories based on his art. There's nothing wrong with his art whatsoever. And the more that I read this, the more I'm really getting into his art. I would say that his art kind of made me think that the stories were going to be something different. And that's 100% on me and my assumptions about someone based on that. Judging the book by its cover. But holy fuck, do I love this right out of the gate. I also love that it's on this kind of black background paper. So you see the edges and it's all dark. So good. If you haven't read this, the very, very, very basic premise is that our main character, Rachel, has come back from the dead, and it appears like she's been murdered, and she goes now to interact with people thinking that it's the next day. It turns out it's like 3 days later, I think. And when she sees some people and says who she is, there's a couple of people who say, no, you're not. You're absolutely not Rachel. You don't look anything like her. And there's other people that do recognize her as Rachel. So right away, that mystery is pretty cool. She goes to see one of her friends who's a mortician, and the mortician says that it's a ghost because, again, you don't look anything like Rachel. I've been working too hard. I need to take some time off. You're not really here. So there's right out of the gate, and the way that that stuff is kind of presented to you in the book is piecemeal. It doesn't move too slow. I think the pacing is actually really, really nice in it. You get little nuggets pretty quickly, but altogether, those little nuggets really present quite a mystery of what the fuck is going on. Where are we? Who is this person? Did she get, there's just a million questions every single issue. So I'm loving this book so far. I can't wait. I think there was maybe 6 trade paperbacks of this, maybe 6 or 7. So I've got just the first 3. I just have a feeling that I'm going to be addicted to this, and I'm going to want more as soon as I'm done these 3. So I'll be keeping my eyes open for any more cheap volumes out there. But the price on these ones was exactly why I took the dive. I see that the price tag on them when they came out was $16.99 US, which is, I don't know. I wouldn't have taken a chance on it if I saw it for $16.99 for $17 Canadian. I just wouldn't have taken a chance on it. So, and that would have been to my I don't know, demise. That would have been to my, I don't know the word I'm looking for. It would have been a bad decision. That's what I'm trying to fucking say. Yeah, so it's going to make me want to read more Terry Moore. I have read little bits and pieces of his stuff, but I hadn't really dug in. So very, very excited about this. And with that, that's actually it. I only read that stuff. Like I said, I just haven't been reading very much. I just haven't had that drive to read as much as I have in previous years at this time. I'm still keeping up with the book. None of that is going away. It's just that the the entries in there are very minimal compared to what it was last year at this time. So gonna call it there. Thanks very much. 420, nice to see you. I see there's a couple of people that are lurking as well too, so I appreciate you guys and coming to hang out for a bit and listen. And those of you watching tomorrow or in the future, thanks very much for hanging out and watching. And we'll talk to you. Okay, later.